Good morning, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is the Bobbi Jo and Sheena show. Here is my best friend Sheena Kantar. And what are we going to talk today about, girlfriend?
I don't know. You were talking about a load of C's.
Yeah. How
Is
about the
is C
C's
a swear
today?
word?
What were
We'll
they?
soon find out.
It is a choice, this life of ours, right? Are we committed to it or are we complaining about it, right? What else? Chasing your change. Are you committed? Is it courage or circumstances? And then claim it, people, claim it. So all these C words, there's so many that we can go over, but I like the what are we committed to? I like that. What are we committed to? We committed to our story? We committed to the victim mode? Or are we committed to ourselves and our health, our family? Do we get up every morning and we set the intention? And do we have our priorities? Right? Do we put ourselves over the family? Pretty much not. If a lot of people are out there having family like you, Sheena, have raised kids, you were probably the last on the list after everything else and the animals and the husband and everything got done. You were probably last on the list.
Well, actually, I really enjoyed all doing that because as soon as everybody was done, then I could sit down and feel like, me time, We're sitting down having me time when everybody else was all up in the air. I just thought that can't be doing with that. So, but when you say that about committed, and what I have really noticed, I mean, before I would have said I was committed to my goal, but my
Mm,
goal doesn't mean anything. I'm committed to me. I'm
right.
committed to being in that peace, being in that joy. And it was funny, Bobbi Jo, I asked Wolfgang this morning, I said, do you believe that you can be 100% happy 100% of the time? And he goes, no. And I went, there lieth our belief. I said, why can't? And he had all these arguments as to why being unhappy was okay. And I went, do you hear what you're doing? Like, are we really that programmed that we
Yeah.
go, well, I need to argue for unhappiness? Because I'm not arguing, I'm just saying. And I went, yeah, but you give me all this stuff talking about why unhappiness should be. And I remember, you know, listening to Bob, and he said, you just have to be like 51% over, in the positive, and then things will flick over. But then that dawned on me, and I went, so that means I'm accepting 49%
Hmm.
unhappiness?
Yeah.
No. And I realized that trust is 100% or nothing. It's not 99% trust. Well, exactly the same with happiness. And it's all starting to come together. I'm just realizing what I have been accepting. It's just if I accept 1% unhappiness, that
Mm.
leaks through like a horrible little thread because it'd be 10 things that go well in your day and one thing that didn't. And what
We
do
need to
people
put a
talk about?
finger on that. No leaks there. No
So I
leaks.
am
Ban that
committed.
thing. Ban that thing.
I am committed to my alignment with me.
That's funny because it's there was the word he was sounds like he was trying to convince himself, right? There's another C word that all that he kept going on and on and on. It's kind of funny that the paradigm was so strong that it's like you didn't care what his answer really was. And then when you kind of like ask questions, he get more agitated a little bit. Didn't sound like he was angry about it, but a little bit more agitated, trying to convince you. I remember recently, it was back in December. I was having a story with somebody. We were in New Orleans and something was going on, and I was saying something, and the guy's like, sounds like you're trying to convince yourself more than you are me. And I was like, oh, I just like shut my mouth, like, oh, no, no, I know I believe. I don't care. I'm not trying to convince anybody. Sorry you don't feel the same way I do. It was really an interesting story, but I saw myself like, oh, no, I'm not trying to convince myself. So I just shut my mouth and like walked away and like we were cool. But yeah, the unhappy, I remember my friend Dr. Jana Youngar said that before. He was like, you know what, Bobbi Jo, if you're happy, you can be unhappy. But we try to aim for bliss. He's like, there's nothing as unblissful. So, and bliss is the name, the game when you're at that top vibration there. It's right under enlightenment, peace, love, bliss. Those are the ones up there. And I feel the same way as you do, Sheena, although I do dip in. It's funny to catch the emotions. I felt a little agitated here this morning, so I sat over here and just lit some candles, and I was like, okay, some Palo Santo. Where's that? Something just triggered me. Something,
Can't you be
Sheena and I
happy?
know.
Yeah, isn't it as well? But you can still be happy in your triggering, where you can recognize this was
Yeah,
just like a little,
yeah.
like a battery has a positive and a negative, doesn't it? I mean, a battery other than that, just like nothing happens if a battery doesn't have a positive and a negative charge. So why can't, I'm not saying that happiness, see, it's our definition of happiness is happiness. I'm running around. I mean, that's a pain in the neck, Sheena, being positive all the time. Like, like, I mean, that's painful.
Not for me. I'm a golden retriever.
But when you can just like go, rah, you
Oh
can
yeah.
still be happy in that
Yeah.
rah, can't you? Like,
Yes, yes, let's talk about this. We can. You can know you're happy, but that's an emotion, that's a feeling, and you need to get it out. And if that's what's happened with most of our lives, for most of us, I know, until we're in our 50s, is that like we suppress this stuff. I just heard Reverend Linda talk about this yesterday, until she was 50, she kept suppressing all this, like, oh, it's fine. When she was pissed off about something. And it's true, we all have done this, and it's okay. Face it. That's what I did. I sat down and I just thought, okay, something, just let it go. I didn't sit and wallow in it and cry about it.
I
But then
shouldn't feel this.
yeah, you shouldn't feel it. Should have like the should haves, the shit all over myself. So yeah, and I just knew, then what happens, people too, is like I just jumped on here on Zoom with my best friend, and all of a sudden it's like I feel so much better than I just did 10 minutes ago. And so
And
you
there's
gotta
that
be,
negative charge
yeah.
that they can help that. They can just blow the cobwebs away. And then you're like, I'm back.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday because I was saying a friend of mine came up to me on the boat the other day and we were talking and he had just been feeling a little depressed, and anxiety lately. And it's like, it's about, okay, I feel it, but don't let it control me. And what can I do to get out of it? Call someone else, go to a movie, go play pool. I don't know, go do something. Shift yourself out of it. Go take an Epsom salt bath. It's about being smart enough to realize and be outside of yourself and kind of laugh and go, "Hoo, look who's taking life a little too serious today." Let's go have some fun. And I'm so excited, everyone, because Sheena Kanta will be here in America in 9 days. And then you'll get us live and we get to talk about all this, like looking at each other together. I love it. And she gets to see me be triggered all the time. It'll be fun. She'll be like, is that your story today, Bobbi Jo? Yes, it is. It's hard hanging out. Like my mom or like my husband are like, you guys just don't even talk normal. Because we talk about stuff like this. What's the story? Let's just make up fun stories. Let's just be
Let's just
like,
make up fun stories and stick to your truth. That's what another commitment is. I'm committed to my truth. I was reading in Neville Goddard's book, I can't remember which one it was. He's got so many. But he asked somebody why was he successful, and he says, because I didn't conceive of anything else. And that's whenever you're committed to, that this is where I'm going, and I'm not listening to the naysayers. And you just keep going. I'm committed to my truth, and I know what my truth is. And you can say whatever it is that you want, but I'm like la 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 la. I can't hear it. And so just be committed to your truth. And what is your truth? So just like we were saying that, somebody else wasn't admitting that, yeah, everything's okay. Well, if it's not okay and it's pissing you off, I mean, it doesn't mean that you have to react to everything. You can just actually go, I'm drawing the line today. Let me just tell you, I don't like this, and this is the way I want to go. And if it's not going to be like that, well, then I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not playing that game anymore. I'm done. I'm out of here. Because when we don't speak our truth and stay in our truth, that's where I started the beginning of this, being committed to my alignment. Well, my alignment means being honest and integrity of myself first and foremost. Then I will obviously be in integrity, and I will allow everybody else to speak their truth as well. But it doesn't mean that you go around hurting people. It's isn't it really understanding that you're leaving people with the impression of increase. It's still having that mindset as to where am I coming from. But if I speak my truth, then I will allow others to speak their truth.
Yeah, but that is a question, and I found it. You had sent it to me. Neville Goddard's book is "Be What You Wish."
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I never heard of that one. So
No, neither
interesting.
did I. And it's lovely.
Yeah,
Really
and
lovely.
I like what he said there. He's only committed to his success or whatever. What was it? Yeah.
Yeah, he could only conceive. It actually his exact words
Okay.
or something like exact words were only something like
Yeah.
couldn't conceive of failure.
Yeah.
So I just switched it around that he could only conceive of what he wanted. And that's where where we are at the moment, isn't it? It's just like, well, this is what I want, and but not hanging on to it like for dear life, like I might have been before, like hanging on to somebody's legs and going, don't leave me, goal, don't leave me. I am more committed to me than I am to the goal. It is me that is it's me that I've got to be committed to, regardless of the goal or whatever. That's going to happen or not.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing I'm thinking of it happening. And something even more magical could appear. How do I know what the truth? How do I know anything?
Oh, I have a good story.
Oh,
Yay! I
go,
just
go,
remembered.
go.
Okay. This is about because I was thinking like, how do you know your truth? And then it can change as the story, and it's about always. Okay, I saw a man yesterday in a store, And I was like, hey, years ago, right before COVID, they were all the family were supposed to move here from Alabama to Australia and work as an occupational therapist. And then COVID happened, and they've been around town, and I haven't seen him since like 4 years ago. And actually, when I gave my very first presentation, him and his wife and daughter came and watched me. It was like 7 people, and it was like cute. I was like my first one. I was like, so scared. So I see him, we talk, and he's heading to New Zealand. And I said, how funny is this? See, you were all excited to go to Australia, move the whole family, and then COVID hit, and you're not going anywhere for 3 years, baby. And then now he gets to move to New Zealand. Much better. There's no snakes there, people. Okay. And so then I said, look at that. And I go, that's a bunch. And I go, how is that as a country? Like you were there for a work visa? And he said, no, that occupational therapists went up to the green or whatever. So they get to move there and they get to live there as long as they want. And then New Zealand is hard to live in. And I was like, see, that is an example of God knows better than us, that you just have to know what it is you want. He thought, oh, I just want to move halfway around the world, I guess, thought Australia, but it's like, I'm sorry, those Australians out there, if you might be watching. I liked New Zealand a little better, although I've never been to your country. But yeah, how can you say you've never been to Australia? Well, you just have a lot of critters that scare me. And I've been to New Zealand and I absolutely loved it. So there's an example, though, of that. Because I was going to say to you, how do we always know our truth? I feel like my truth has changed so much in all these years. I feel like my head has just been scrambled going, blah, blah, blah. At first, it's like you want what everyone else wants until you can figure out, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm my own snowflake. I'm my own thumbprint. This is what I want. But then some days it changes. Like this morning, something triggered me, and I'm like, oh, God, now what do I want?
And also, I think if we're committed to ourselves, then
Yes.
we're more open to following something. It's just like following a line of thought or following, going and meeting somebody. Like, I mean, it just happened last week for Wolfgang. He just went to meet somebody and just talking without trying to get anything or do anything. And then this opportunity came through, and I was just like, we've just got to. So then we went for coffee with somebody else yesterday morning. I don't know what comes out of that one, but it was interesting. I just thought, it was, why are we going for coffee with this guy? I go, I don't know, but he invited us out, so we'll just, but so it's really, really funny that way, just to start to follow. I don't know what I'm following. Follow your highest joy. Follow your
Yeah.
highest joy.
Well, right, it's that cybernetic mechanism in us. Like we kind of are planting seeds about what we want, and then the universe kind of brings those people in front of us. And it might not always, maybe there was a conversation or a thing you heard yesterday that like just advances you in a way with your thought or energetically. You just don't know, or he knows somebody. You just don't know. But I guess if you sit in bliss and happiness and just keep following your heart, like, am I feeling okay today? Is this okay? And just working at it and not being so far in the future or tripping up from yesterday and just being in the present, right? That's why it's the gift.
Being in
And just keep
the
following
holy instant, as
the
Course of
whole.
Miracles calls it, the holy instant, which is the whole instant, the now. That's all there is, just this right now. So that was a really good conversation. I loved that one. I hope you loved it. If you've got
Yeah,
any
I did
comments,
too.
just let us
I hope
know.
they did. Doesn't matter if they did or not, or whoever's watching. But yeah, so you know what? What are you committed to? Commit to yourself. That's it. We'll just highlight it. I like everything we had to say, listen to it again, but committing to ourselves and our truth and our bliss in this moment. And it can change, right? That perception and our views change because we're different energetically. I was different a week ago, a month ago, a year ago than I am right now, and even an hour ago. There you go. Have a great day. What do you have to say, Sheena?
That's it. Have a great day. Commit to yourself. Done.